this hour, the Senate has suspended Senator Natasha Akpoti Uduaghan for 6 months for violation of the Red Chamber's rules. Her security detail will also be withdrawn and allowances withheld for the period. It follows a dispute with Senate President Godswill Akpabio, who she accused of sexual harassment. Arise correspondent Omo Bazwai has been following it.
The travails of Senator Natasha Akpoti Uduaghan started with "These are outbursts" as she refused to relocate to a new seat a fortnight ago. On Thursday, Senate slams a suspension order on her for misconduct.
That the Senate do suspend Senator Natasha Akpoti Uduaghan for 6 months for a total violation of the Senate Standing Rules 2023 as amended, for bringing the presiding officer and the entire Nigerian Senate in general to a public opprobrium. Those in support of prayer one say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it.
The hammer fell on Akpoti Uduaghan after the Senate disciplinary panel indicted her and recommended that she should be suspended for 6 months.
That the Senate do suspend Senator Natasha Akpoti Uduaghan with effect from 6 March 2025 from all legislative activities forthwith.
The Senate adopted the reports of its disciplinary committee that had earlier accused Akpoti Uduaghan of trying to stop it from carrying out its assignment. The upper chamber went further to bar her from coming anywhere near the National Assembly. Her office is to be locked and her salaries and allowances withheld for the period she is to stay away.
For the period of her suspension, she be barred from representing herself to the public, locally and internationally, as the Senator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Akpoti Uduaghan sat on a seat, occasionally smiling as Senate decides her fate. Earlier, the Chief Whip, Mohammed Mongunu, in a point of order, drew attention to Akpoti Uduaghan's consistent refusal to stand up to observe the entry of the Senate President, an act she repeated on Thursday.
It was in the media. All the media yesterday reported that when the Senate President is entering, she didn't observe that rule. And today also, she didn't observe that rule.
Not satisfied with how a sexual harassment petition against the President of the Senate, Akpabio, was tossed out on Wednesday, Akpoti Uduaghan resubmitted it on Thursday. But it was an exercise in futility. The Senate disciplinary panel had nailed her, and the petition would now count for nothing. Not one of the senators, including those in our caucus from Kogi State, rose in her defense.
Mr. President, I'm one of those that put you in this problem, and I'm very sorry. When my sister came to the Senate, you were very reluctant, giving her a leadership position. I want to recall your word. You said she's a rookie. And there are people that came before her. Karimi, why would I give her chairmanship position? You said you wouldn't do that. That your conscience will not allow you to do that. I went to some leaders here to put pressure on you.
The closest to sympathy she got was a plea from the minority leader, Senator Abamoro, asking the Senate to reduce the suspension to 3 months.
I say this with all with all sense of responsibility. But I think that with what has been canvassed here and the unanimity of senators on the gravity of these incidents, on the integrity of this institution, that 3 months is sufficient for some level of restitution.
Abamoro's appeal was flatly rejected in the face of fierce opposition by senators, including those from our People's Democratic Party, PDP, calling on the Senate to unleash its powers on her to serve as a deterrent.
The past 2 weeks, the integrity has gone down just because of mere trivial matter of allocating seat and so on. We don't want to know what is undercurrent. God so kind. Those people push you to assist. They have confessed. And I have prayed for him that may God forgive him and Jubril.
Even the plea not to withdraw her security details was equally thrown out. Natasha Akpoti Uduaghan could, however, get a reprieve and return to the Senate much earlier if she apologizes in a written letter to the leadership of the Senate. But as Sergeant-at-Arms closed in on her to effect the suspension order, Akpoti Uduaghan had this parting word for Akpabio and the rest of the Senate.
This injustice will not be sustained. The pursuit for justice.
Sensing that a microphone had been turned off, she stormed out, closely marked by the Sergeant-at-Arms, who escorted her to a waiting vehicle. Omo Bazwai, Arise News.